Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Russia, and so I want to bring you guys a little bit of a different video from what I usually do. Now, every once in a while, usually on my rant videos, I get the question of why are you so negative about zombies, or why does it seem like you don't like zombies? If you don't like it, then why do you play it? Things like that, right? But the opposite's actually true. I rant about zombies because of the fact that I love it so much and I want to see it succeed. Now, that actually got me thinking, and I was like, you know what? Not a lot of people really know how long I've been playing zombies. They don't know really where my name came from. They don't know that it's zombies inspired. They don't know a lot about my backstory with zombies. So I wanted to kind of sit down and just sort of talk about that for a little while. So to get to the present, we have to start at the very beginning. And in the very beginning, I got an Xbox 360 for Christmas of 2010. So did my brother. But I got Call of Duty 2 and my brother got Black Ops 1. And I used to sit there and I watched my brother play Black Ops 1 all the time. And ever since I actually saw him play Keynote or Toten back in the day, I was obsessed with zombies. I used to sit there and I'd be like, whoa, what is this shit? What is the Nova zombies? What's going on here? Why is this so cool looking? And I saw a thunder gun. I was like, whoa, what is that? It was like basically just kid in a candy shop, right? I really wanted to play it, but I couldn't play it because I had Call of Duty 2 at the time because my mom didn't want me playing M-rated games. Probably because I was like, 11 at the time, whatever, right? So basically, I used to sit there and I used to watch my brother play, and he didn't really like that, but from that point, I was basically obsessed with zombies, and once I actually got Black Ops 1, the first thing that I did was actually went and I played zombies. But obviously, me being the dumb kid that I was, I only played Kino. I didn't know that all the DLCs actually came out until probably about 6 months or a year after I actually started playing Black Ops 1, right? And then all of a sudden, I got these DLCs. I played Ascension, and I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And then all of a sudden, I got Moon, right? And Moon, I was immediately obsessed with. It's my favorite map to this day, and there's a reason why, because I had never done an Easter egg before. Easter eggs were basically new in zombies, especially to me. And basically, I didn't know, all the backstory, things like that. But when I went and I played the Origins Easter egg, and I blew up the Earth, things like that, I heard all the quotes, it was so cool to me. It was an incredible idea of, holy shit, they just blew up the Earth, what is going on here, right? I was absolutely just, again, baffled that they could do that in a video game, right? Because I'd never seen that before. Before this, I had really played, a lot of Pokemon games, a lot of GameCube games. I played Halo, but, those were the really old ones. I really hadn't played any brand new games to that point. I hadn't played anything, that was on as big of a scale as obviously Call of Duty was at the time, right? And that just blew my mind, blowing up the Earth. And I did the Moon Easter egg a couple hundred times. I used to play with this dude called Antarctic Seashik, right? It was actually, a Bosnian dude, right, that moved to the US. Me and him were friends for about 5-6 years. I still have him on Xbox, but me and this dude, we just go around and we play public matches, and we just ask people, hey, do you want to do the Moon Easter egg? No? Okay, cool, get out of our lobby, right? We did the Moon Easter egg at least a couple hundred times. We got down to a T, we could speedrun this thing. It was so good, and like I said, we did it at least a couple hundred times, and I was so obsessed with it, and it was so good. But then we moved on to Black Ops 2, right? And Black Ops 2 is really where things started to really take off for me, right? That's where I started playing zombies a lot more than I even used to, and I used to play a lot, actually. I play zombies, I think now, probably less than I ever have, which is interesting, because I used to literally get home from school at 3:30, and then I'd play it until, like 10:30, 11:30 at night, whatever, and then my mom would tell me to get off, okay? So I used to play at least like 7-8 hours a day, whatever it is, right? I used to be obsessed. But with Black Ops 2, I actually started off with Transit, right? And I got the game, I think, the day after it came out. I didn't actually go to a midnight release until Ghost, which is interesting. But basically, I got the game the day after it came out. I came home, and, my mom was like, oh yeah, let's go to GameStop. So we got it, and I came back, and immediately I started playing zombies, because that was my shit right away. And for whatever reason in Black Ops 2, I really didn't like the multiplayer right away. It actually just, really turned me off, and I was like, I don't want to play the multiplayer. And I was like that for probably about close to a year, and then all of a sudden it really just grew on me, but that's later on down the line. So basically, for probably about the first month and a half, whatever it was, that Black Ops 2 was out, I was in the top 150 players in the world for, kills. I wasn't really a high rounder at that point. I was a wannabe high rounder where I was like going into lobbies saying, hey, I got to round 80 when my highest was actually like 42 or whatever, right? I acted like that cool kid. And after that, I tapered off a little bit. I was going back to Black Ops 1. I was playing a lot of that multiplayer because I liked it, and I didn't like the Black Ops 2 multiplayer at the time. But, still, I was playing a lot of zombies. And then we went through all the DLCs, right? And we got to Buried, and I met this guy named Hans, and he was an interesting person, to say the least. And, he was a real high round guy, and he liked getting highest rounds any way that he saw possible, whether it be, modding it, or whether it be glitching. Whatever it was, he was really into high rounds. and then I actually met one of my friends, Spectrum, who was a modder at the time, through that. So for a long time, I actually knew a lot of these modder guys, and I was sort of into that community. I wasn't a modder myself, but I knew a lot of those guys, and I wouldn't play these super high round games myself. I would just kind of sit in the lobby and have some fun. I would help people do it, right? But that actually brings me to, I met Glitching Queen one time, and this was back when she had a really small channel back in about really early 2013, late 2012, whatever it was, right? Maybe the middle of 2013, I don't really remember specifically when it was, but basically, at the time, she was actually still a modder on the Xbox 360, and I'm not going to go into depth as, what kind of person she was, things like that, obviously, because she's changed as a person, but I'll just say that she was a little bit interesting, is the best way I can say it at that point. She didn't really have a lot of patience for a lot of people, but that's actually where I met Glitching Queen. I met Slick at the time, and I met Chatterman, and a bunch of the other glitchers in the community. That's sort of where I met them. I never really rolled with them very much, but I talked to them every once in a while. And now let's fast forward to the fall of 2013 when Ghost actually came out. And when Ghost came out, I was actually really into Extinction at the time for the first couple of weeks. I was the first person that really figured out the whole Sentry Gun strategy, if you guys know what that is. I believe I told it to a YouTuber at the time, and then he made a video on it, and I remember that did really well. And, I was one of those people that sort of figured that out at the time, because for probably about the first 3 weeks, I was one of the top players in the world for that. I had, I think, the most escapes. I think I had it with the most relics. I think I was one of the first people to actually max out on prestiges, because I believe there was 5 prestiges and 30 levels, something like that in Extinction at the time. They obviously raised it, but that was the original cap. And, I was obsessed with it for a while, and then I was like, you know what, this really isn't as good as Zombies. So I went back and I played Zombies until about mid-2000, let's say early 2014, right? Where basically I got really into Black Ops 2 multiplayer for some reason, and I really don't know why. And I played that for about 9 months straight, and I really didn't play much Zombies at all. That was one of those points where I just wasn't playing it, and I don't really remember why. Maybe I was just burned out, maybe it's, the thousands of hours I had put into Zombies at that point, but I didn't really play it all that much, and I was playing a lot of Black Ops 2 multiplayer. I played a lot of League play, and I got pretty good at it for a while, and I was on a couple of, amateur teams, things like that, right? But it really wasn't going anywhere, especially because of the fact that, Advanced Warfare was coming out, and Ghost was still the new game at the time, so it was really weird, and I didn't really play Zombies for a while. And then all of a sudden, once Advanced Warfare came out, I got really back into Zombies, and I got really into multiplayer as well. I played them both probably equally, and then I got more into Zombies as the year went along. And as much as people want to actually talk about, Exo Zombies wasn't very good, things like that, I thought it was actually pretty solid, right? I loved Descent. I didn't really play Burger Town. I didn't even actually buy Burger Town, right? I think I played it once, and that was at a friend's house who actually bought it, but I never actually sat down and really just okay, well, let's go for a high round of Burger Town, right? Because I didn't buy it right away. I didn't used to buy DLCs the day they came out. I would usually wait a week, and I would see if it was any good or if people were playing it, whatever, yada yada. And I heard the Burger Town was trash right away, so I was like, you know what, alright, I'll just hold on to my money for this one. So basically I just decided, nope, not going to play Burger Town, and then we immediately went on to the other maps, right? There was another one it was from Burger Town to Carrier. So Carrier was probably the best Exo Zombies map, and this is where I started getting back into high rounds, and this is when I was actually able to record. And I had started my YouTube channel about a year earlier, but I'd started with a lot of multiplayer, and my first video was actually of multiplayer, but I did some Zombies, things like that. It was a product of its time. I did a lot of challenges, stuff like that, but I didn't really post very often because I didn't have a good computer, and I couldn't actually record videos myself. I would have to go over to my best friend's house, and we would actually have to record it from theater on his Xbox One, and then I would have to record the commentary while watching a video back and recording that in Elgato. It was really weird, and it was really ghetto, but it actually worked for a little while. And I think there's one video up on my channel where you can actually still see that, and we didn't even insert the actual audio, from, let's say, music or whatever, into the actual track in editing. It was just basically play through the mic and hope it didn't sound like trash. But anyway, back to Exo Zombies. Basically, right, this was around the time that I was actually able to start recording for myself. I had a laptop and I had an Elgato, and I was actually able to record, gameplay, right? So, and this was when I found Zombie Records, and it was still a fairly new website at the time because it was probably the first couple months of 2015, and it had maybe been up for 9 months or whatever it was. It was still fairly new. They were messing around with it, right? They didn't really have it fully established like it is today. But basically, I thought it was the coolest thing that there was actually an established leaderboard without glitchers where I could submit my gameplays and I would be officially the #1 person in the world, right? I thought that was really cool. So basically what I did was I said, hey, well, I'm not going to be able to beat this guy's around 150 or whatever the hell it was, right? The world records were back then. So I said, okay, what can I do? So I did the carrier first room world record. I did, like, no powers, no exo health, whatever the hell their jug actually was called. But basically I started, getting into world records at that point. And this is when I started meeting, a couple of my friends, right? But this was when I really started, getting into YouTube and things like that, because that's where I found my sort of passion for uploading videos and playing, zombies, things like that. And then this whole thing sort of leads into Zombies Hub. If you don't know what Zombies Hub basically was, one of the first zombies teams that actually just got a bunch of content creators together and said, okay, well, we're going to upload on a centralized channel, every single day, and we're going to have enough members that we can actually do that, right? And it was basically, okay, well, one person would upload on Mondays every single week, and then it was a different person every single day of the week. And it was started by a guy named Gnarly. He basically PM'd me on YouTube when that was actually still a thing and you had a YouTube inbox. But basically he PM'd me and he's like, hey, yo, dude, you want to join a zombies team? And I'm like, sure. And that's where I met iPro Zombies, who a lot of you guys are going to know because I've been friends with him for so long. The Jazz Falcon, Electric Shock FTW, if you guys know who that is. He has like 35K. But there was a lot of guys in there at the time, right? And this was the original incarnation of it. And basically, it lasted for a couple months, and what was really funny was that I had a world record that went up on the Zombies Hub channel right away, because it was the first Exo Zombies world record right after Descent came out, and basically, it got 40,000 views in like 2 days on a 300 sub channel. It was actually ridiculous, and then, all of a sudden, just Gnarly wouldn't let us upload on, so basically the channel kind of died off, right? But, the whole thing was really, sort of weird, and then I started to, kind of quit YouTube for a while, kind of didn't, whatever it was, and then I just decided, okay, well, maybe let's, take a break, and I didn't really do much, at the start of Black Ops 3, right? I didn't do stuff, or actually, no, towards the end of AW, I didn't really do much. The start of Black Ops 3, I sort of came back, right? Where I did stuff for a lot of Shadows of Evil, and right after Dare Eisendrach dropped, I think about a week and a half or 2 weeks after DE dropped, I actually stopped doing YouTube for a while. And I started to come back after Revelations dropped, so I missed most of Zetsubo, and yeah, I think I missed most of Zetsubo, a pretty good amount of DE, and basically all of Revelations from what I remember. I actually started uploading right when the Easter egg got found, and I actually missed a really good opportunity with that, but still. And basically since then, I've really been grinding, but what got me back into YouTube at that point was basically we made another reincarnation of Zombies Hub, and the people that were in there were actually, they'll go on to some pretty big successes. It was X Real Gaming X, who has like 60,000 subs, Greg FPS, the big deal. Who else is in there? Wilbo was in there. There's a lot of guys that were in, Zombies Hub that were actually pretty big now, or they would go on to bigger things on YouTube, right, where Wilbo ended up with 47,000 subs, big deals, closing in on 90. There was a lot of guys that were in there, and, it was actually going pretty good for a while, but then it ended, and I think we still have the channel, actually, because the first one, we actually closed, which is really funny, but still, and the thing is that, we still have that second channel. We might bring it back at some point. I don't really know what the hell we're doing with it. But basically, since Adam's sort of, kind of maybe-ish quit, for good this time, I don't really know. We're probably not going to do anything with it. And there's a reason that Zombies teams have never fully lasted. So, hey, like, it's just, if you're ever thinking about doing, like, a full Zombies team, the Zombies Hub style, where basically it's, everyone's going to upload, once a week on a channel or whatever, right? It doesn't work like that. And I think a lot of people have found that out, because once we actually did it, I don't know if any of you guys know this, but Azora actually used to have a team called Group 935 that was basically made to compete with us, because he was originally a member of Zombies Hub for about probably 2 hours, and then, this is when he had maybe 1,000 subs or whatever, right? We had beef with him, and then all of a sudden, he made this group called Group 935. Him and Z Toxicity, who was an old Zombies YouTuber who quit now. Basically, he made, this group called Group 935. They uploaded a little bit, but they never really did much, and then they kind of shut down, and Zombies Hub was really the only team for a while. But I felt like I should mention that, because obviously Azora is pretty big now. Me and him have sort of patched things up, right? The last time that I actually talked to him was, he, I think, live streamed the Gorog Krovi Easter egg. It was me, him, and Nixaru. And I think it was someone else. I forget who. I think it was Ducky, actually. We did the Gorog Krovi Easter egg, and I think we had the 4th team to complete it in the world. I think we were like 20 minutes after JC when he actually did Gorod. So yeah, anyway, that's I feel like I should point that out. And I've met so many incredible content creators and people over the years. I want to kind of shout out a couple of the OG homies. iPro Zombies, JXFUK, Duo Gaming, Jug, Greg FPS, Wilbo, just to name a couple of the homies. Those guys really are great YouTubers, great people, and I love them. They've been around since day one. You guys are the fucking homies. I wish you guys all success on whatever you do in life, whatever you do on YouTube, whatever it ends up being. I really do wish you guys the best. But this has been my whole history of zombies and why I love zombies so much. It really has been a huge part of my life for the last about 6 years. I've been playing it basically every single day, and you guys are a huge part of me playing zombies. I probably would have moved on to multiplayer. I might have moved on to a different series if I wasn't still doing YouTube, but I love zombies as much as I ever have, and probably more than I really ever had, to be quite honest with you. And you guys are really a big part of that because, you know, obviously the love and support that you guys give me every single day is absolutely incredible, and I really can't thank you enough. And I know this is going to be a long-ass video, but if you stayed through the whole video, I would appreciate it if you put the word Gatorade in your comment, because that way I know you made it all the way through the long-ass video. Believe me, I know this is going to be super long. My voice is starting to go, and this is going to take forever to render, so it's going to go up super late tonight. I'm sorry about that. But I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you guys are new around here. Turn on notifications. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.